Here in Never Never Land, nobody ages. Come to Neverland and enjoy life to the fullest. Here you will never grow up, and you can still listen to the goofballs out there in YouTube land who age but never mature. Here, you can remotely witness Fraudit Wanker and his bloody simpletons make complete asses of themselves as they toss off in their backrooms and mummies' basements.
We would like to say thank you to all of you who listen to Never Never and Public Broadcasting, brought to you by ageless conspirators everywhere.
The following is an update from NNN, Never Never Land News Network.
Hello, and welcome to the Never Never Land News Hour, where we bring you all the news that nobody can really give a shit about. Today, outside of Never Never Land, is May 2nd of the year 2024. We don't care about dates, because we never grow up here, but we try to report the dates out there in the real world, as we do have compassion for those of you still aging. For those who are still aging, the news I am about to report now is based on occurrences in and around YouTube on May 1st of the year 2024. This update is about YouTube personalities David Finkel, Fraudit Wanker, Johnson & Johnson, My Brother's Creeper, For Public Safety, and others. Well, it all starts about a quarter of a century ago, when Fraudit Wanker was still in child-sized diapers. There appears to have been a kerfuffle regarding current-day personality for public safety. Keep in mind, these two YouTube personalities have never met. However, Fraudit Wanker has, for the better part of 1 year, demonstrated a strange pseudo-sexual attraction for Mr. Safety and has dedicated his fanboy page to about 80% obsessing about this man he has never met. On the evening before yesterday, I guess that makes it Tuesday night, April 30th for those of you who dates matter, Fraudit Wanker held a virtual party on YouTube for the purposes of, quote, countdown to when dumbwaiter goes to the big house, end quote. In that party, Mr. Wanker hosted Johnson & Johnson, a regular guest on Wanker's show, and My Brother's Creeper was in the audience making certain coordinations with Mr. Wanker and Mr. Johnson & Johnson, as all three fully anticipated the walk of shame and cuffs for Mr. Safety. It was arranged, again, for Mr. Creeper to stalk and await Mr. Safety and the courthouse. The plan was hatched. Well, really a replay from the same old playbook. My Brother's Creeper would, yet again, creep around the intended courthouse to utilize the same tactics as auditors or frauditors use, and the Wanker fan base tell us is illegal and victimizes their subjects. However, this game plan so far has been deployed at the Meade County Courthouse, where Mr. Creeper has friends on the inside. Yesterday, the court was held at Hardin County Courthouse, where Mr. Creeper has no friends. As usual, Mr. Creeper would stalk Mr. Safety and feed a live video image to Mr. Wanker's live stream watch party. Meanwhile, Johnson & Johnson could go and stay the courtroom, pretending to be a victim, and used his official capacity to remain in text communications with Mr. Wanker. For those who watched Mr. Wanker's live stream that morning, they noticed buzzing noises. It was later confirmed by our investigators that those buzz noises were texts being exchanged between Wanker and Johnson & Johnson, who, for most of the stream, was inside the courtroom, where there were no victims. Remember, this is a hearing about allegedly skipping out on probation. Which brings us back to the backstory. Nearly a quarter of a century ago, and talked about in great detail in present day. Allegedly, Mr. Safety, that is for public safety, had different charges than those he is alleged to have skipped out on probation on. Some say imposter, others say mistake identity, and yet, still others say recently edited or forged documents from 25 years ago. Let's stick a pin in that and remember the name David Finkel, who is one of NNPR's sponsors.
We would like to say thank you to all of you who listen to Never Never and Public Broadcasting, brought to you by ageless conspirators everywhere.
Back to yesterday. While Mr. Creeper nervously video streamed to Mr. Wanker's audiences and Mr. Johnson and Johnson's communications continued to coordinate with Mr. Wanker in real time, there came a point where Mr. Safety was arranged to further delay the hearing for another 2 months. This is when, on live stream, Mr. Wanker threw a temper tantrum. Court ended. Mr. Creeper made an effort to continue to creep on Mr. Safety and misconduct. For reasons originally unknown, both live streams, Mr. Wanker's and Mr. Creeper's, disappeared. Our investigators later found out that one was put on private mode and the other on unlisted mode, neither being aware that several people were re-recording their live streams. Reminder: the internet is forever. Our investigators reviewed the mini copies of the two "missing" videos and found that both ended seemingly normally. Seemingly. It was later reported by Mr. Wanker that the morning live stream was put in private mode for strategic purposes. Yes. Our investigators have found that there is indeed a poorly devised strategy. He was ordered to take stream down. We don't yet fully understand the reason for the order, but we can see from all of this that Mr. Wanker has no sense of operational security or OPSEC. Meanwhile, timeline not pinned down. Mr. Johnson and Johnson did indeed file a complaint on our biggest sponsor, David Finkel. Reminder: this is when Mr. Wanker banished Mr. Finkel to Never Never Land. We thank Mr. Wanker for that. But, yes, Johnson did actually file that complaint to a local prosecutor who had this reaction. And then later, on bad advice, Mr. Double Johnson, thinking, multi-jurisdictional, took his silly complaint to the FBI, who had this reaction. Now, remember the pin I had you put in regarding Mr. Finkel? Mr. Double Johnson got the name and address wrong. Imagine, if you will, had that complaint gone through, the person whose name and address never showed up, and 25 years pass. Do you see a problem? Do you see a pattern? If they file a complaint against the real name of Mr. Finkel in all the technology of 2024, get it wrong, who can say with any certainty that a 1998 document with 20 years earlier technology, not a sermon, just some food for thought? Cherry O.
We would like to thank you for tuning into Never Never Land Public Broadcasting, where nobody ever ages. We would also like to thank Fraudit Wanker for sending us our sexiest corporate sponsor, Mr. David Finkel. Now, please enjoy the rest of your day and remind Kiser and Double Johnson and my brother's Creeper to stop tossing off. That shit will make you go blind.